Welcome back. So, my topic for this session is starting from scratch, and basically, it's how do you start a quiz program? How do you start a quiz ministry? Um, this probably isn't fully inclusive. It's as best as I can do based on, trying to dig back in the annals of 20 some years ago when we first started our ministry back in Kalamazoo. A long time ago, my dad and I just got the itch and started doing stuff and started talking to some people, and we've gotten better since then. But trying to think somebody who doesn't have a couple decades in about what all you need when you first start. And so, like I said, I'm going to give my best attempt at it here. And a couple of other videos hit it from a couple other angles. So altogether, we'll give you a good head start, and then obviously you can sync up with us and ask us further questions as you start digging in and realizing what we didn't tell you. But I would say the very first thing, if you've not gotten off ground zero at all with your Bible quizzing ministry, is that you need to talk to your pastor. You need to get approval from your pastor that he's okay with you grabbing a couple young people and starting a Bible quizzing ministry. Assuming that he's fine with you doing it and that he is supportive of your efforts, then you can take some of the initial steps. He might be skeptical at first, but if you get initial approval, you will have the opportunity to show the positive impact the Bible quizzing can have on your church and your young people. You want to talk to your quizzer age students. You're going to have either junior or senior quizzers, and you just have to figure out what the demographics are of your students and can you get enough people together to start a team. I think one of our other videos will talk a little bit more about the composition of what it means to have a team, how many people you need to have a team, and what the age groups are of those people in the different divisions and how that sort of works out. It doesn't always land cleanly. Sometimes you got to recruit people. Sometimes you got to encourage people that maybe are a little on the fence. To try to make sure that the one or two people that really want to do it can actually do it, so you can have enough people to have a team. But that's part of the fun part of it. You get to be a college recruiter and pull people and look. You start looking at your church demographics a little bit different. Like I think that person would be a good quizzer, and start thinking about things that way. But you want to talk to the parents to make sure that they are on board. You might have, if you're doing junior quizzing, you might have an 8-year-old that says they really want to quiz. Obviously, with an 8-year-old, you're going to need a lot of parent involvement, so they need to be on board before you let them sign up. Maybe it's a 16-year-old, and maybe they drive. They maybe don't need as much parent involvement, but you still want to talk to the parents and make sure that they're on board with their student help being part of the Bible quizzing ministry. You want to solicit help from parents or other adults or non-quizzing aged young adults, so your hyphens and that kind of stuff, to help with running practice and coaching. Quizzing can be a lot of work, and the more people you have to help, the better it will be. The extra people will provide more individual help for the quizzers and will help you not be quite as frantic about getting it all done. Can you run a Bible quizzing ministry by yourself with one, or maybe probably not two, with one team? You could run a Bible quizzing ministry by yourself, but you're going to want a couple other hands involved, because even when you sit down to do practice and you're trying to read a quiz and keep score and coach people up and handle situational things of, you're down by 30 on question number 18, and what do you want to do all that? It's helpful if you have some other coaches in the room that can sort of maybe handle it from that angle and be the coach while you're trying to be the quiz master. And so there's a lot of roles to be played to simulate a quiz in practice, and you want to make sure that you have multiple people helping out with that, as many people as possible. Once you have buy-in from pastor and you have a ready and willing crew of quizzers, parents, and helpers, the next step is to buy material. So what do you need? Well, I would say that you probably need a laptop. And the reason why I say you need a laptop is twofold. One, it is how you scorekeep, and so it is very helpful for that. The other thing is you need a buzzer, and this is awesome buzzer bag you will typically get, and it will have a lot of the components of the buzzer in there. But the buzzer plugs in via USB into your laptop. And so you need the laptop to actually run the buzzer and have the buzzer have sound and go off and all that kind of stuff. And then you need software for the buzzer. And that software, basically, it's the license for the buzzer software. And I believe that's roughly about $25 per season. And you do need a license per laptop you use. So if you have, a junior team and a senior team, and they're practice at different times at the same time in two different rooms, so you need two different laptops to run a buzzer. You'll need two different licenses one for each one of those computers that you're running that off of. You need the quizzing material for you as a coach or practice quizmaster, and for the quizzers. There has traditionally been a new coach package that includes a rules manual, study guide, workbook, audio verses on CD, score sheets, color code page sets, and color code pocket verses. On the senior side, it previously was around $50. This year we are buying, the way we are buying materials has sort of changed on the senior Bible quizzing side. Is the same way as it used to be for junior Bible quizzing. For seniors, it formerly was on the bqpowers.com website, which is where the juniors buy theirs from. Now the UPCI Youth Ministries is handling that directly for the seniors. So I'm not sure exactly what package deals they have just yet. We did pick up some materials while we're at Nationals. And so I just want to show a little bit of it to you. When I say color-coded first cards, this is what they look like. This is the box. Let's see if I can do this properly. This is the box, and then this is a verse card, and you're going to have the reference on one side and the verse on the other, and you can see there's color-coded charting on here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that on the video or not, but that color coding represents different keywords and things that you're going to want to coach up your quizzers on how to look at those verses and do what they call charting. Let's see what else. I talked about the rules manual for a second. The rules manual is just like, and I guess I'll talk about that in a minute. But you want to know the rules. You want to coach your quizzers on how to do things right. You don't want to go to your first tournament and get embarrassed and cause your team to get a foul or something else just because you didn't know the rules. It's very important that quizzers and coaches alike know the rules. Not that you won't ever make a mistake, but you want to minimize those mistakes, right? And then this is a study guide that you can buy. I recommend learning daily and memorizing off of your quiz cards, but the study guide is very helpful. It's sort of got a list of all the verses in order, and these are also color coded. They also have concordance kind of stuff here where it talks about other places that this phrase is mentioned or similar phrases are mentioned in another verse, which can help you with learning. If you're struggling when you learn two verses that sound a lot alike, looking at them and seeing what the similarities or differences are and realizing that this one's a the and this one's a the sort of helps clarify that for the quizzer sometimes. And then also it's important because multiple like cross-reference questions and those kind of things will cover those similar phrases or same phrases across multiple verses. So it's an important thing to learn as you're studying your Bible quizzing. And then the last one, this is helpful if you're a coach. These are laminated color-coded sheets. It is a very quick and easy way to be able to navigate the scripture while you're coaching. So they're going to be reading a question, your quizzers are going to be answering it, and as a coach, in most cases you're not going to have memorized the material, but you might pick up on a reference or a keyword or something, and you can go hunting for it in here, and this makes your life a lot easier. As if you get involved in that kind of stuff, we can show you some other things. There's some apps for your phone and other things that you can do to look it up. But definitely when you're starting, this is a lifesaver. It can really help for coaches. Some quizzers like to use it too to like memorize in the bathroom because they're laminated when they're going like taking their shower or whatever. They like to, kill two birds with one stone, I guess. Um, so that's some of the material that you want to get um, initially. Um, the color coded cards, I believe, are $15 for a junior quizzer, $25 for a senior quizzer. I talked about wanting to buy the rules manual and knowing the rules. It's not exciting to study the rules unless you're, a referee or something like that on the side, and you really like the rules. But it's important to learn those things. As quiz coaches, Sister Ruth Wilson and brother and sister Gary Powers have tremendous resource websites for senior and junior Bible quizzing. They have done an incredible job of creating software, online materials, and hard materials that make our jobs as coaches, quizzers, and quizmasters much easier. The entry level learning curve is much easier because of these wonderful servants of the Bible quizzing ministry. UPCquiz.com is Sister Wilson's site. It has the buzzer system. It has the quizzing software where you can keep score and run your buzzer. Learning and training software is also available there. It has great information on that site. It has tournament information. It has tournament results, stats. You can go back and look for multiple years at stats that have taken place. You can go on there right now and look at the North American Bible Quiz Tournament that just took place, 10 days ago or something like that at this point, and see who are the top quizzers, who are the top teams, what they've been doing, all that kind of stuff. For sports nerds and stats nerds like me, I love the UPCquiz.com site. It's just a great way to follow the world of quizzing. BQPowers.com is run by Brother Gary and Sister Joanne Powers. It is the go-to site for junior material. They have your flashcards, cross-reference materials, score sheets, study guides, rules manuals, color-coded laminated condensed materials, and questions, which will be very important for having practice. You will go through a lot of questions if you're having weekly practices, and you're going through multiple quizzes per week, which is the goal. You want to get reps into your quizzers on the questions. You can never have too many questions. I would say this is getting a little bit deeper, but just as an FYI on quiz practice, the goal is to have the quizzers know the material before they get to practice, and then when you, as the coach, when you bring them in for practice, the goal is to be able to do practice quizzes with them, maybe to do some spot checks on some of their learning to see where they're at, and then to get down to actually quizzing, because learning, there's sort of two phases to Bible quizzing. One is learning the material. The second one is becoming comfortable quizzing over that material, not just even as a quizzer overall, but each time you learn a new verse or a new chapter or a new section of verses, there's a whole new world of questions that get opened up on those verses. And so the more reps you can get on your quizzers with the actual questions, the better. It's also helpful if you have enough resources to buy questions from a couple different places, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But different question writers come at the material in a little bit different way, and so it's sometimes helpful to not just buy a big glob of questions from one individual, but to buy them from two or three, so that your quizzers hear multiple types of questions and sort of fill up their data banks with all those different question types. Hopefully that makes sense. It might not initially, but when you start quizzing, you will understand what I'm saying to you and why that's important. SeniorBibleQuizzing.com is the UPCI's website for senior Bible quizzing, and it is where you will find the majority of your senior Bible quizzing material this year. It is also a great place to find events and how-to resources for beginning teams. There's many resources on that site that are very, very helpful, and as a coach starting out, I would definitely scour that website and pull off as many nuggets as you can. Other resources for questions we will send out or send out on our social media pages. Other sites for event and ministry information are najbq.com, or North American Junior Bible Quizzing.com is what that stands for. Coach's Corner is a site on Facebook that allows for coaches to connect on Facebook. There's tons of good material and good networking and mentoring and all sorts of stuff that happens on that Facebook group. And it's also where sometimes tournaments are announced and other things if you want to get out and get to tournaments across the country. There's also a parents corner, so if you're a parent of a quizzer or a parent slash coach, which is what often happens at least initially in Bible quizzing, it's helpful to go on parents corner and learn, how people are working with their kids, methodologies, what's working, what's not working, all that kind of stuff. If you have a some children pick up on it quickly, some like to fight you on it, and you can get some nuggets from some of the other parents. There is a fantastic set of YouTube videos put out by the former Ohio District Coordinator, Dr. Jay Lytle, and I say it's former, and it's unfortunate that it's former because he's been a great proponent of Bible quizzing, not only in the District of Ohio where he was the coordinator, but he has been the National Quizmaster in Session B with Brother Faubert for many years now, and he is going to coach his local team and stepping down from some of the national and district level stuff that he was doing. But he has put together, a couple years ago, he put together some YouTube videos in a workshop for his district, but he shared it out, and then he did such a great job with it that the UPCI grabbed it and asked for his permission to put it up on their site as a general intro to Bible quizzing for everyone. So we're doing this, and we're doing this largely because we got our ideas to do this from him and what he did. And so there is a link on seniorBibleQuizzing.com to that resource, or you can just go to YouTube and look for Jay Lytle Ohio District Coach Workshop. As far as tournaments go, we will talk more about that later, but make sure we get your contact information. Reach out to us on social media or sign up for our various social media options, and we'll get our Eventbrite info out to you for our in-state tournaments. There's also extravaganzas, nationals, all that kind of stuff that will be on seniorBibleQuizzing.com or NAJBQ.com if you're a junior Bible quizzing coach. For other side tournaments, I would check on upcquiz.com and a few of those other sites, like I said, Coach's Corner, that would provide some of that information. And the other thing is, just as you go to tournaments, as you go to an extravaganza for the first time, which is a big super regional tournament, there's 5 extravaganzas that happen all over the country. There's a North Central one that typically is going to happen somewhere in like Missouri to Illinois, Indiana kind of range, which is typically the one we would go to in for Detroit and Michigan type teams. There's Northeast, Southeast, South Central, and then Western. Sometimes it's fun to go to some of the other places just to experience a different part of the country, but they try to put them in each region so each place can go to it. There's typically about 50 to 80 teams that show up at those tournaments, and they're very good. And that's another place where you can just network with people and talk to them about what tournaments are happening and all that kind of stuff. There's multiple ways to do that. That's just one example. We have a list of question writers that we can share as well. We will probably share that via social media. I won't go through all those names and places here, but suffice it to say there's many different places and people to be able to get questions from. And like I said, for your practices, that really is going to be your lifeblood. You're really going to want a couple sets of questions that you can go through and help your quizzers do that. You could always write your own questions, and you can always try that out. But after you write a couple quizzes of questions, you probably realize why it's better to buy them. So that is all I have in this session. We'll see you on the other side with a couple of other videos for you.